My guess is that you've been hearing a good deal about what's going on in Washington these days, and that's because so many things are coming together at the same time. A government shutdown hopefully gets averted with legislation today or tomorrow. And yet another big challenge is coming up, which is our Democrat friends have a so-called $3.5 trillion reconciliation bill. It's nothing but bad news, in my opinion, for our country, and not a single Republican in the House or the Senate is going to vote for it. Let me tell you why. First of all, it spends an awful lot of money that we really don't have, and it's going to result in higher taxes as well as additional debt. Higher taxes on higher income people. Some people don't mind that, but it means less investment in our country. Higher taxes on corporations, particularly corporations that sell goods outside our country. And unfortunately, if you want to have more economic vitality and growth here, you want to make sure that we can sell things around the world. If our taxes are higher than other people's that are selling things around the world, it makes it less likely we'll have those jobs. And then there's how the $3.5 trillion would actually be spent. There's going to be an extraordinary largesse given to people who are here illegally. Families, kids, individuals are able to get government payments whether or not they're legal. That's a problem. Education. The federal government is putting the camel's nose into the tent, if you will, in the education world. So we're going to have the federal government saying that all of our kids between in the 2 years before kindergarten are going to go to public school. So they're going to have pre-K at public schools. They're calling for building new schools. So we have pre-K for our kids under the direction, of course, of the public school system. And likewise, they're going to say free community college for all of our kids as well. So the federal government is really taking on a much more significant role in education than I think is appropriate. They're expanding Medicare. Look, I love Medicare, but we have a Medicare program right now which is not able to meet all of its obligations. The trust fund in Medicare runs out in just a few years. And yet, instead of trying to rein in the expenses and find new ways of providing revenue for Medicare, they're instead expanding Medicare, bringing its availability to people that are 60 years of age instead of just those that are 65 and older, and then adding benefits as well. That just doesn't work. So a series of expensive measures, and then some things that are just kind of irritating. So, for instance, if you pay taxes to the state of Utah, or if you pay taxes to your city or town, you can't deduct that from your federal tax burden. That's not allowed. But under the Democrats' bill, you are going to be able to deduct union dues. So if you pay dues to the AFL-CIO, that's going to be deductible from your tax bill. I mean, these kinds of things just don't make any sense at all. So I, along with every other Republican, is going to oppose this so-called reconciliation $3.5 trillion bill. Hope you get a perspective on why that is. By the way, something else you should know. Most things in the Senate require 60 votes to pass. And that means Republicans and Democrats have to agree for something to become a law. But if it's a measure that relates to spending or taxing, that can be done with only 50 votes. And because the White House vice president is a tie-breaking vote, the Democrats can do what they want on this bill without a single Republican vote. It's unfortunate. So that's where we are, and hopefully we'll get some progress and maybe slim down the size of this extraordinarily expensive and high tax, high spend situation. Thanks.